What is up, my beautiful gemstones? Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, just welcome. My name is Gemma Jade, but today we are going to be talking about our life's purpose and some other things regarding the spiritual realm. These types of videos have been super duper requested for years by you guys, and I'm finally in a space, I feel, where I'm ready to start talking about things like this. The information I'm presenting to you all in this video is gained from my very own extensive knowledge from personal experiences about the subject at hand, and also from interviews with other professionals and well-known names in the field that I've watched and spoken to. I have not interviewed any of these people, and the main person I took an interest in, mainly because what she had to say was so in tune with my own knowledge and beliefs about what we're discussing here today, is teacher, regressionist therapist, and licensed psychologist Dr. Linda Bachman. But these thoughts and ideas might not ring true in their entirety to every single one of you, and that is okay. I only ask that you keep an open mind while you're here. And if you're here, respect one another in the premiere, in the comments of the video, and in general always. So let's jump right in. So as many of you all have heard me say before, none of this is simple, and it's been very hard for me to try and break down all of this for you. We as people, as human beings, as souls inside of a body, are all here with a purpose, and we really do need to live our purpose. I think one of the ways we lose people in this community is that everyone tends to think that their purpose needs to be something huge, something that really sticks out and prominently affects the world on a level where everyone can see it and acknowledge it. That isn't the case at all, though, and everyone's purpose is equally important to the well-being of the collective. The collective is what's important here, not the individual. Some of us will have a purpose where we're here to cure a disease or get onto YouTube and risk everything to bring this information to whoever stumbles across it. But some people could be here to experience something as simple as raising a family, being a farmer. You know, it varies so greatly. Remember that no matter what we do, we affect everyone around us, and our decisions, actions, and the smallest choices that we make every single day do have a ripple effect on not only those around us that we interact with, but so many other people. And we could do the simplest thing, like smiling at a stranger or opening a door for a stranger, and never get to know that maybe it saves someone's life, or that it helps someone who was down on their luck to have faith in humanity and feel like trying again. You just never know how what you do and what you say can and will affect other people in the long and short term. So that's why we should all be striving to be as kind as we possibly can, offering as much grace as we can muster to anyone and everyone we come into contact with every single day. As a soul, we are required to learn, grow, and gain wisdom, and I do talk about this a lot, particularly in my Friday Night Live Intuitive Oracle stream. We make so many mistakes, guys, and that's okay as long as we learn from them. This is what I mean as well when I talk all the time about how we could be having a repeating issue in our lives over and over again, like, for example, being in an abusive relationship. And in all honesty, the reason any lesson repeats is because we haven't yet learned from it, and it will continue to repeat in this life, in the next, and in the next, and in even in however many after that, until we learn the lessons we're meant to learn from it, so our soul can absorb and retain that lesson, that information, and acknowledge it the next time we see it to move away from it, right? We have to learn to not only recognize the signs, but we also need to believe in what's happening. We need to believe what's going on all around us. We can plan our lives out all we want in our contracts while in spirit in the fifth dimension, as we all do, but then as human beings, we have to accept it when it finally happens. Meaning, if you feel like you have the ability to speak to and communicate with spirit, when spirits find you and start speaking to you in your mind's eye, as they usually do, or otherwise, like appearing right in front of you, for example, you have to accept that it's really happening and not just a figment of your imagination or part of a, fever dream or whatever the case may be, because otherwise, what's the point of it and what purpose will that serve? I recently had been dealing with someone who's trying to test out and stretch their mediumship abilities, but they never believe the answers they're being given in their heads and can't accept the fact that it isn't just them making up and thinking of an answer. Which, no judgment or indictment, because that is so easy to do. If you're not physically seeing someone or a spirit or whatever, whoever, speaking right in front of you, standing there, why would you think there's someone invisible in the room, right? But in this community, we should all know better by now. And if you're new here, welcome. You'll know better soon enough. So opportunities are predetermined, but the decisions to follow through, those are ours. Remember from a few weeks ago when I said that there's no overriding free will. Our soul's growth is essential because, listen, the higher realms, meaning in part our guides, our higher self, God, or whatever your equivalent of it is, etc. Those entities and beings don't come down to earth, to us, and affect change. We have to raise ourselves up to their level if we want any kind of meaningful access. Human beings are the ones who bring change to the collective, not spirit. We do it. I mean, you guys can come to mediums all you want, but if you don't experience it for yourself, then technically it isn't yours. Ancient civilizations weren't as distracted or conditioned out of believing in telepathic or channeled information. And that's why, in my opinion, and in the opinion of so many other experts on this subject, they were much more spiritually advanced, regardless of what you learned in school. Okay? They were. Ancient civilizations, think about the pyramids. I also personally believe it's because they were working directly with extraterrestrials and other interdimensional beings, but that's another story in another video altogether. Did you guys know that even Pythagoras taught his disciples about reincarnation? That's important. He taught them about the passing of the soul after death into another body, and he believed that it took about 800 human incarnations before we could even begin to start evolving ourselves. I personally believe it's more like 1,000 to 1,200, but it's all in the same realm of numbers, right? That's the matter of old and new souls. You won't find many new souls seeking out this sort of information, and that's for a very good reason, and that it more than likely wouldn't even occur to them that there's more to life than living and dying. And if it were to occur to them, then it would more than likely be a transient and passing thought that they never put any action behind. I tell you guys all the time that we were all drawn together as this collective community here on this channel. And if you don't like me personally, that's different than you not wanting to even consider the information that I'm presenting, right? Maybe you're newer, but I don't even believe a newer soul would spend 2 seconds listening to anything like this. So think about it. If we can incarnate as many times as we want to or feel the need to in order to reach where we need to be as far as our energy and our ascension, many souls from what we call the ancient world are still incarnating right now. The only group of people I've ever come across who do not want to ever incarnate again are those who, believe it or not, were major celebrities or otherwise in the public eye while in their most previous lifetime. Other than that, believe it or not, most people do want to come back time and time again because we normally leave unfinished business, whether literally or in a spiritual sense. And we feel that we must write whatever we left unfinished, or at least try to finish it, because it's in the best interest of our ascension to do so. Also, sometimes we incarnate to, help a soulmate with a lesson as well. Like we could be their child that dies from a sickness, or, their partner. Like we could just incarnate just for the simple fact of something terrible happening to us for their soul to ascend, or whatever. It doesn't have to be something terrible, but I think you guys would understand what I'm saying here. Every lesson we go through in this life, as far as the major ones at least, the ones we overcome, we can move on from, and we don't have to experience it in the next several lifetimes. And only if we come to start dealing with the same recurring issues in our lives again will we have to go through all of it again, right? So we can go lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after having learned and dealt with whatever the lesson was, but that doesn't mean in our humanity we won't start making the same choices again as our soul starts to maybe, I don't want to say lose the lesson, but maybe as it starts to fade back into the sub and super conscious. So let's say, just for example, so I can put it into perspective, that your issue is always being in a loveless or in an abusive relationship. If in this incarnation you can break that cycle by learning the necessary lessons and putting them into practice in the here and now before you die, then that's one major and very painful lesson you will no longer have to experience in your next lifetimes, unless you need to work it into your chart for some other reason. But even then, it won't be chronic. For example, did you know that Gandhi was Moses in a past life and that he reincarnated again to teach the exact same thing to humanity? It's true. You don't have to believe me. There are also soul groups that continue to incarnate together today and throughout incarnations. That is mostly true. And I feel like, specifically with my Friday night group, we're a soul group, guys. Whether you have acknowledged it or not, that's exactly what we are. One of the most important facets of living, and honestly one of, if not the only reason we're here on this planet at any given time, is to understand the evolution of the soul. That is, to learn the lessons we need to learn and continue towards ascension. The way we grow and evolve is to go through lifetimes, which are specks of dust in blink of an eye in spirit on the other side. Now, I personally don't believe, and I've gotten some very trustworthy information from a spiritual source that's much more elevated than I am, or than any human being ever could be, that we don't only have to reincarnate as human beings on Earth. We only choose to be humans on an Earth when we need to learn something in order to grow, in order for spiritual ascension. Earth, and there are many Earths, and they're all the same as this one for the most part, with free will changing some smaller things, is the hardest place to live and incarnate. And while I don't go as far as to say it's a prison planet, meaning it's a place we are forced to incarnate when we're in trouble for something we did in one of our lifetimes, I do believe it really is like a school of hard knocks. This is the only place where we come without any recall of source or the other side or other planets and beings, and our goal is to get to a place where we can be born here with at least some of it, in my opinion, and based on what I was told as well. And that's why some people can access their abilities and some people simply can't. I want to break down what I just said too, because I know there are a lot of questions floating around out there regarding a lot of it. So let's start with the fact that I said this isn't a prison planet, which is becoming, with Earth being a prison planet, becoming a more and more popular belief and something I'm seeing spoken about constantly on YouTube. So there are a lot of people out there, specifically in recent years, who believe that Earth is basically hell, essentially, and that our souls are forced to incarnate here as a punishment of sorts. But hear me now for once and for all, we do not receive punishment on the other side for anything ever at any time. There is no punishment. I've discussed dark souls, and they are the only ones who don't go to what I call heaven, but what you can call whatever you want to. They don't have contracts to fulfill, and light beings, like most of the population, do have contracts, and therefore, how can we be punished for actions we charted ourselves to take in a document that was signed by God or the creator or the universe or source or whatever you want to call it? It makes no sense and wouldn't be fair and wouldn't be reasonable, right? Once you get to a certain point of your soul's ascension, you will then be able to reincarnate on any planet as any being you wish, but it will always be so that you can learn a lesson or lessons from the ascension. It never stops unless perhaps you are an ascended master, but I don't know enough about that subject yet to really speak with any authority on it. When Earth began to have intelligent life, like for instance souls who are beyond what we would now call the primitive level, there was a large soul group, and the large group, according to Linda Bachman, has many names, but what we call XOGemmaOX. I don't know how to pronounce this. Melchizedek's is what I'm going to presume it is. Melchizedek was believed to be the soul that was in and out of the body during the development of the city of Jerusalem, which is to some the Holy Land and the Motherland. Guys, I can't tell you what to believe, and I'm not trying to tell you what to believe, but I can tell you things based on my own beliefs and on the knowledge that I've been given to work with. And I will say Jerusalem is those things and so many more things. And it's those things to all of humanity, not just to those whose religious beliefs state it is. The soul group was mandated to come from another place in the universe, so it's interplanetary, or could be called a starseed soul group, and they came to the earth in order to work from lifetime to lifetime in order to grow our souls and help them to ascend. I don't want to get religious or have nut jobs in my comments who don't know me try to start their mess or say I'm pushing some sort of agenda on anyone, so I'll just put it the same way Dr. Bachman put it in reference to the question of, quote, what is God, end quote. And the reason the answer to that question is so important is because God is who/what sent those souls, or that soul group, here to accomplish all of this. So my understanding is that what we call God or source is, quote, the higher source or divine power that seeks to assist humanity to evolve, end quote. It's a God force that's focused on earth, and believe it or not, it's a group, and all but one of those souls has never come to or incarnated on our planet. Yeah, there's one who has though, and y'all can probably guess, whether you're religious or not, who that was, what we call him. But there are other divine forces, and they all work together to bring the soul group to earth. And what do we come to now? What in the world am I talking about? Because I kind of lost it a little bit. We are talking about the 144,000 souls spoken about in the Old and New Testaments of the Bible. That, my friend, is Melchizedek. That's the Melchizedek soul group, and I won't go much further into that because then we would have to get into the book of Revelation, and I'm just not prepared to go down that road just yet. I really am trying to stay away from religion so that I can keep your attention, because the information I'm giving to you right now is really important for you to have. This is only my second video in my Let's Discuss series, and I'm trying to do it weekly or at the very least twice a month starting in September. So let me know, and what you want to hear more about as far as spiritually and souls and contracts and whatever you guys want to know, ask me and I'll see if I can get the answers for y'all. I might even do a Q&A depending on how well this video does. Because if we're under 100 views after all the work I put into this, guys, I don't know if I'm doing pre-recordeds anymore, but let's move on. So these souls were taken from somewhere else and delivered here to begin incarnating, and this happened who knows how many years ago. They began working to move humanity forward, and the complexity of all of this, it's not lost on me. It can't possibly be. We need to evolve beyond self-absorption, power and control, corruption and greed, hatred and war. And guess what? These are all things, and there's so many more that we've been working on all this time for all these thousands of years, or however long you believe it's been, to do this. And we aren't even close. We're not even within spitting distance to achieving all of this, to ridding the world of all of these evils. That's why I tell those of you that I'm close with and my clients that something is coming. Something is coming, and there will be a major shift in the collective, for better or for worse, and hopefully it's for the better, and I believe it will be because of how terrible everything is right now in my lifetime, and I'm only 41 years old. In order for any of us to even begin to comprehend any of what I'm saying right now or any of these concepts separately, we have to each as individuals begin to work on cultivating and elevating, tuning into our own intuition. That is the key, guys. We all have it, and it works the same way for all of us. It's a matter of how we process the information and what we do with it once we receive it. Our spirit team can tell us something isn't right for our lives all day long and nonstop, but unless we are willing to accept that information without second guessing or overthinking it, we have to learn to just accept the information when it comes in as a matter of truth immediately and right away. So many people struggle with that. Again, not judging, because I do too. Everyone does. We can all intuitively connect with our own higher selves, which is our soul energy that isn't and never comes into our bodies, our guides, spirit ancestors, etc. We just need to develop it over time. Dr. Bachman said that the angelic realm comes through over and over and over again during hypnotic regressions, past life regressions, and the like that she does. They're souls that serve the divine energy, doing what they can to coordinate with human beings on earth, and believe it or not, sometimes they do incarnate. And that's how Dr. Bachman said that she knows all about them, because she does do regressions and regular hypnosis. That's what she does. When she does the past life regressions, she time and time again sees clients who are actually angelic souls. I took that to mean they're always angelic souls from the angelic realm. They just have no idea about it until they either ascend to a very high level while here in their humanity, or once they pass away and move to the other side, and then they look back and see where they succeeded and where they failed in whatever their mission was for that lifetime. Now, don't get me wrong. This doesn't mean that angels come here incarnated as human beings and act like saints, because for the most part, that is not true. The role of the angelic realm is to support the divine and bring love and compassion to the earth and all of the souls on it at any given time. Believe it or not, too, there's evidence of a lot of what I'm telling you now that's been purposefully left behind. And guess where it is? It's in the Dead Sea Scrolls. The Dead Sea Scrolls are books written by Jewish mystics, individuals who claimed that they were living with angels and were receiving teachings about human transformation into celestial beings. This doesn't, in my opinion, and from what I've learned in my experience, mean that human beings can become angels when we die or when we move from Earth, but that angels can instead incarnate as human beings. It does not work both ways. You're not getting a halo and wings when you pass, no matter how saintly and good you were. Stinks. When Rome invaded Palestine in 70 AD, these texts were hidden away in caves, and they were only discovered in 1947. When they were discovered, it was sort of done surreptitiously and kept under wraps for a while. And then when it was known that these documents were found, once the powers that be or whoever else knew what was contained in the documents found out about it, it caused quite the sensation. It was quite the ruckus. They're Gnostic in nature, as the mystics who recorded the information were Gnostics, which to me really just means that they were interested and believed in self-realization and ascension and not constructed religion. These mystics were also very much focused on the transformation of the human body into a celestial form, which is something I think a lot of people can get behind nowadays. The Dead Sea Scrolls aren't labeled as Gnostic, but they are Gnostic at the heart of it. Now it's clear from what's contained in those documents that the mystics who wrote and recorded them were actually in contact with interdimensional beings. Before I continue, let's take a small side quest just for a minute into what that means for those of you who don't know. There are many different types and subgroups in close encounters, but I'll do my best to keep it all as simple and easy to understand as possible, so bear with me, please. Close encounters of the first kind are visual sightings of an unidentified flying object that is less than 500 feet away, and there's no interaction with the witness or the environment by the craft. Close encounters of the second kind is when a UFO somehow affects the environment. Oftentimes, there are physical traces left behind, like burns on the grass or marks on the ground, and it can also include interference with electronic equipment. Close encounters of the third kind involves actual contact with an alien life form, like an extraterrestrial of some sort or any other type of interdimensional. The fourth kind are full-out abductions by extraterrestrials or interdimensional life forms. Either that, or it's having very close contact with those same types of entities, but more often than not, the contact is through an abduction. Remember, please, that I'm overly simplifying here because this is just a side quest from what we're discussing here today. So the Jewish mystics, who do have a formal name, but it's one I can't pronounce, and so that's why I keep referring to them in that way, so don't get offended. They were having all these types of experiences and interactions, and as a result, ended up writing the Dead Sea Scrolls. Now, there's also a close encounter of the fifth kind, and that's human-initiated contact with extraterrestrials, interdimensionals, and other forms of advanced interstellar civilizations. There's an app, a CE5 app, that I have that I wanted to live stream myself using, but I couldn't get anyone else to do it with me. So I still might go out and do it myself. Anyway, this concept is fairly new and only became popular in 2020 or around that time, though it's been done for as long as humans have been here and have been made aware that such life forms do exist. So that's us reaching out and being like, hey, come get me. Come chill. Netflix and chill. So these mystics said they were seeing angels in the sky and portals were opening in the sky. What most people don't know is that these mystics, way back in AD times, were also having close encounters of the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th kinds. Let's quickly go over what those are in the simplest terms I can think to explain them. 6 is when contact between any of the above mentioned beings and humans have contact and it results in permanent injury or death. 7th is when contact between humans and any of these beings results in a hybrid being made as a result of the contact. Finally, 8th, and almost nobody knows this, and you won't be able to find it on the internet for the most part, Even my co-pilot went silent and shut my computer down when I tried to see if this information I had received about close encounters of the eighth kind could be corroborated. So I guess I'm about to let you all in on a little known secret regarding what close encounters of the eighth kind are. So CE8 is human transformation into a celestial being. I know this is more than likely where I will lose some of you, but for the rest of you, just hold on and hear me out. The Dead Sea Scrolls very clearly describe what we would call in our modern language someone being abducted and taken into the celestial realm and transformed into an extraterrestrial or so-called celestial being who we call angels, but are just more extraterrestrials and interdimensionals. Not saying angels don't exist, but again, that's like a whole other side quest that I'm not about to go on. I know it's huge, and I'm not saying you have to believe this one way or another, but I am telling you for a fact, this is the exact type of thing that's described in the Dead Sea Scrolls. That is a fact. These scrolls are really, if you think about it, our very first disclosure moment. That's exactly what this is. So whether you believe in God or not, guys, you have to understand that there is a divine force and that it is eternal. It's always been here and it always will be here. And unfortunately, humans are and have been for as long as we've walked this earth almost, at least as long as there's been intelligent, non-primitive life here, pushed as souls that embody not doing what we were put here to do, which is to ascend and gain wisdom and to know the knowledge deep within us that we've been separated from since birth, but to blindly follow man-made concepts of religion. That's not me making a statement about religion specifically, just in general, in that all the major ones got some of it right, but most of it wrong. And in the end, it doesn't matter one bit anyways. Only love and kindness do. That's it. And that goes back to the ripple effect. You will never know how tormenting the Amazon customer service person will affect. Maybe they'll go home and hit their kids. I mean, maybe they'll go home and quit their job and then they lose their house. Like, major things can happen from the smallest things you do just because you're having a bad day. And everyone does it. Everyone gets angry and impatient, and everyone is rude sometimes, and everyone, we're not expected to be perfect, but we are kind of expected to try, even though there's no punishment. It's like the difference between old and new souls is like old souls, like, we're going to take pride in being better people. At least that's my opinion of it. The fact of the matter is that no one comes here with recall, and we never know what our contract is when we come here to this planet and onto this plane. And most people out there don't know about or believe in spiritual soul contracts anyway. Your humanity will force you to wonder why you've chosen or written such a stressful, sad life filled with one thing after another for you to struggle with. But your sub and superconscious mind does remember, and that's, in my opinion, why and how we are mostly able to continue on after all of this trauma. After all, you never know what's going to come next, or what unbelievably tragic circumstance or situation is going to be the one that ends up putting you on the path to your destiny where you're living well and happy. It's also a part of the law of karma that you can't just take yourself out, meaning self-harm, in order to get out of that contract. It doesn't work that way, and what'll end up happening is you'll be incarnated here on Earth again to exactly the same circumstances and situations until you make it through, break the bonds and chains, whether personal, generational, ancestral, or otherwise, and move on from it to your next lesson. I will say that now in 2024, I see more and more people who are able to move into a more spiritual existence with the understanding that this is exactly what's happening. That we are meant to learn something from each and every devastating, negative, and traumatic experience we have, and therefore we know now to look for the lessons. It makes it easier sometimes to deal with it, but it doesn't make it hurt any less. And that's just evolution, like learning to deal with the pain in a positive way. Trust me, I know. I believe the reason so many of us are coming to an understanding about this, about the fact that Earth and this third dimension is a school and every single one of us signed up for this assignment, is because the collective is shifting. It's shifting from the dark to the light. It's shifting in our favor, in our direction. These can be challenging concepts, guys, but try to bear with me, and I hope you are still with me. We all come here from a spark of the divine. We all come from the same place, the connected consciousness of the divine or of the universe, if that's easier for you to follow. Dolores Cannon put it perfectly when she said that none of us really has a home anywhere except for the other side. There's no such thing as a home planet, for example, and we are all choosing where to incarnate based on what it is our soul needs to learn in that particular lifetime. We all started with source, period. It's almost become common knowledge in this community that Earth and other places just like this are basically hell and the worst part of everything we will do and ever have done. So, Miss Gemma, how do we discover our life's purpose this time around? Great question, gemstones. And of course, there's a very straightforward but also extremely complicated answer. Fiddly dee, yay! First, you have to understand that the DNA that comprises who you are right now in this incarnation has never been the exact same before on any plane or planet, in any time, at any place, past or future, ever. You're so incredibly unique in that way, and therefore you have an incredibly unique purpose. No one will ever have or know your exact experiences, right? We have to learn to cultivate that uniqueness in order to uncover what our purpose is here. If you're not on your path, you'll be in suffering and you'll have a very hard go at anything that you try to do, even if it seems like you're doing the right thing. Another fact, though, is that you don't really have to go looking for your purpose. You'll eventually end up on your path more than likely, and for the most part. We go back and forth. We stray from our purpose and then come back to it. The dark nights of the soul and the struggles of our lives into the spiritual awakenings, and back to the dark nights again, back to the awakenings. So one of the things that I do is I will do video calls with people for a number of different reasons, but sometimes people contact me to try and help them figure out what their purpose is. I do my best. I'm more than happy to help. And most of the time I can assist them, even in some small way. But there's something I tell my friends, family, clients, and even some random people who come to me for advice or advice in this area. I tell them, just be the best you can be and live your life the best way that you can. I don't mean like be all that you can be in the army. I mean spiritually. In the end, kindness is the only thing that matters, and love is the key. But we're never going to perfect it. But if we consciously make an effort to have an awareness of it, of those two things, kindness and love always, how could we not come to our purpose? Don't worry about making mistakes or doing things society perceives as wrong. If you are truly trying your best to be kind and to do good for others and for yourself, if you're pouring into yourself first so that you can better serve and be kinder to others, then you're living the best life that you can and you're fulfilling at least some part of your original contracts. How does that work? Well, if we all think we have some divine purpose for being here, then life here and now, how we live it, the small decisions we make every day that impact other people and not just ourselves suddenly become less important, and we only want to focus on the fulfillment of whatever we believe our purpose is. During life reviews, there's no judgment, but you will see how every single small decision you've ever made had affected someone else for better or for worse, and how it went on to ripple out into the world, again, for better or worse. And you will feel the emotions for better or for worse, good, bad, ugly, indifferent, that you made others feel. I know it isn't always easy, and we have to deal with a lot of toxicity, particularly in this day and age, but I promise you, if you put yourself first in a non-selfish way, you'll be able to bring so much more happiness than you'll ever know until the day you leave this planet and go home to the other side. I have so many videos like this that I want to do, and I want to do some soon focusing on some of the spirits I've met throughout my life and the many adventures we've gone on. Before all of that, though, I would love to hear your opinions on my doing more videos like this going forward. Constructive criticism is always welcome, and also I'd really appreciate suggestions as to what you all would like me to discuss as far as spirituality, being a medium, the other side, guides, angels, ancestors, etc. going forward. I want to know what y'all's thoughts are. Please, please, please be respectful to me, to yourselves, and to everyone else, okay? I take constructive criticism very well. I do not take mockery and trolling well at all. All right, I guess that's my secrets. That's all I have for you today, guys. Please give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed the content and hanging out with one another in the premiere. Spread the love, share out, share this video. Please, I beg of you. Subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure your notification bell is turned on. In the description box, you will find links on how to donate to the channel. This is my job. PayPal, Cash App, my Amazon wish list, gift link, join my Patreon, become a member. I do not have anything going on for members and patrons right now, except for patrons get monthly readings if they donate or if they pledge $20 or more per month. I am coming into like videos like this are going to be members only going forward, but not until like October. I'm doing a full rebrand, guys. If you've been keeping up with me through the shorts and just through like what I've been talking to you guys about personally, it's coming. So, you know, if you want to see different kinds of content, you gotta let me know. I am open to any and all suggestions. Please make sure you are watching the shorts. It's anywhere from 4 to 59 seconds of your life. Okay, I try to entertain you guys through them. I try to make you laugh. I try to make you think. I'm silly. I'm serious. They are so, so important to this channel. Please share them, comment, leave a comment on any video that you see, any short you see of mine. It doesn't matter if you comment one letter, one word, an emoji, anything to help me on the algorithm, guys. I really want to hit 5,000 subscribers soon. I want to have 10,000 subscribers by this time next year. I know I can do it. Abundance is my birthright as it is yours. Check out the description box. Again, PayPal, Cash App, Amazon wish list gift link if you wanted to send me something. Maybe you can't donate. My book links on Amazon. If you search Gemma Jade books, you'll find them all. The links for all of them should be in the description box, Kindle, paperback, and Audible. I'm also going to be putting hyperlinks of me narrating the stories in some of the books on Audible. A lot of new things coming on. If you've ordered a book, please go and leave 5 stars, rate and review it. Even if you review it 2 words, awesome book. Please, 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 guys, help me sell books. It's one of my only sources of income right now. I can't even speak. Also, if you'd like an autographed copy of any or all of my books, please email me before you make the purchase at GemmaJadeParanormal@gmail.com. If you want to do video sessions, if you want personal intuitive oracle readings, if you want to purchase a spiritual helper box, if you want to do spiritual sessions with me, hour to hour and a half chats. I do charge for all of it, but hit me up and we'll talk price and we'll see what you need and where you need to be at. I also barter, so, you know. Be kind to each other, guys. It doesn't cost anything. Be kind to yourselves and never accept anything less than others being kind to you. If nobody told you today, abundance is your birthright. You are amazing. Don't let anyone put you down and tell you that you can't do it. I believe in you. I got your back. Always go in grace. Smile at a stranger. And I'll see you guys next time.